Hi, this is Greg Johnson with Blue Book Services. I'm here today with Doug Nelson with the Trading Assistance Group, and we're looking at a story that you wrote for the April issue of Blueprints magazine, in which we look at the fundamentals of negotiation, acceptance, and rejection. We've talked about acceptance and we've talked about rejection, and now let's talk about negotiating a rejection. You gave a good example where a product comes in and it was a different size than was agreed upon. So in a situation like this, how does a negotiation work within the fundamentals of such a deal?
When the seller breaches for size, it can be interesting because unlike when the seller breaches for condition, at that point the product's distressed. The best evidence of the value of that product is going to be the buyer's resale value, assuming that they put forth a reasonable sales effort, they provide a detailed accounting of the sales. Who's to say what this distressed product was worth? Well, who's to say the buyer's proper accounting is going to be the best evidence of that? So when it's a condition problem, buyers can generally accept claim damages and not get hurt. When you get into a situation where maybe it's a labeling issue, you order one label, another is shipped, or a size issue, you order one size. In the article, I use the example of limes. You order 200s, 150s appear at your dock. Market news may say that there's no difference in price, and maybe $10 a case, whether it's a size 200 or 150. But for you and your customers, that may make a big difference. You may not be able to sell them at the prevailing market price given your customer base and the purposes you had when you ordered it. So, and that's a situation where before accepting it, it's a perfect opportunity to get the seller on the phone and explain, look, I ordered 200s, you shipped 150. I don't have a good market for that. We need to agree to a price adjustment, or I'm going to have no choice but to reject this product, or I'm going to get hurt. And at that point, hopefully a price adjustment gets agreed to. Could be a price after sale agreement, could be consignment where you're actually handling out of the seller's account. It's a good example in that size when there's not necessarily going to be a clear basis for damages. It's a good example that you want to be well aware of whether you've accepted the product already, and you want to preserve your ability to reject when you're negotiating with the seller in this situation.
Yeah, that's a good example. And the rules are really in place to protect the buyer in this situation. Is that correct?
Certainly in that example, it's going to protect the buyer. So, there are times these rules are going to benefit the seller too. For instance, you don't want to be a seller that delivers product on Wednesday morning, and all of a sudden Thursday afternoon you've got a buyer that calls you up and tells you, hey, oh, by the way, the product's being rejected. These rules force the buyer to be timely, benefit the seller so that they can get the product moved elsewhere to mitigate losses. So I think in all cases, buyers and sellers alike are benefited by having a firm grasp of what these rules are.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the point of columns like these. And when the viewer comes up with a situation that's more complicated than this, obviously we couldn't get too deep into it. They know that they can go turn somewhere, and that's our Trading Assistance Group at Blue Book Services.